So I was not going to do this, but I have been spending the past few days watching Hack Fraud Media's Star Wars pick-apart of The Last Jedi. And then, this morning, I saw Rise of the Skywalker trailer, and it made me feel nothing. So instead, I'm going to go through a story that I made in the past little bit. So, we start out with some junkers, or salvagers. They land and explore a planet, and they find a working antenna for their old communication device, and they send a signal. That's scene 1. Then a storm intensifies, and a month-long plan turns into a scramble back to their ship. They find a baby Rey, wrapped in a cloak. They can either fix their ship and adapt it to the storm and leave. They can use the power from their communication device to power life support to save the sick Rey from the storm. They choose Rey and end up raising her alone on the Junker planet, kind of like Wally's planet. And that's where she learned all the droid stuff. And finally, they find what they need, and the storm calms down. After years, the storm calms down. So eventually when they do leave, they get past the storm, their communications come back into contact, and they learn of the First Order. It's like that scene in Godzilla where all the radio chatter happens, because they've been isolated. So they drop Rey off on Jakku. You'll find out later. She's asleep the whole time they leave their planet, and she just wakes up on a new desert planet with that stranger, and seeing her parents fly off into the sunset. Now we move to Poe and Finn playing chess. Rey is contemplating how she got here and who she become, and then all of a sudden we hear loud noises, and the Resistance is surrounded. Then we move over to Hux. Hux is talking himself up when Kylo walks by, and Hux quiets down, and then starts talking nonsense again when Kylo walks away. Now we go back and we find out pirates and bounty hunters jumped in, and they jumped in really close and tethered the Resistance ships right away. And then they hail. It turns out this is the pirates come aboard, and they give a little lore dump and say that the First Order moves from system to system, conquering and conscripting what it can to become an army of conquered, continuing because of obedience chips. Apparently the First Order relies on the same technology from the Order 66 days, and it's been controlling them. But it turns out that there's some automated system behind all of it. Now, the creators of the First Order were ousted years ago. The conquered became more numerous than the conquerors. So the creators of the First Order were ousted as pirates and scum, and now they surround our Resistance. But they have a plan, right? Says Poe. A deal is struck. A key to a weapon is in the hands of a First Order officer. It must be obtained at all costs. And that's when the pirates learn that Snoke is dead. Okay, so Poe, Finn, and Rey and Chewie are all sitting at the chessboard, which is kind of cool because Chewie's like the only original in that group. It'd be like he's completely got new friends, which is interesting because they live for a long time. So they're sitting at the chessboard and processing everything about the whole fact that they need a key and all of this, and then that's when Rey gets a summon from Leia. Leia asks Rey to help put a team together. Poe and Finn go as hostages to help the pirates, but really they're trying to flip the pirates to join the Resistance. So they go to loot with Poe and Finn. They go to loot the First Order ship. So Rey is asked to put a team together by Leia. She looks through all the rosters of the ships of the Resistance and the pirates, and learns that her parents are also hostages of the pirates, and that they have come aboard onto the Resistance ships. She locates them and finds them talking to C-3PO and R2-D2. They're happily looking at the droids and asking questions, which is strange because Rey should be famous and everyone should be wanting to talk to her. We find out in this moment that the communications were to Luke and the new Jedi Academy. Rey doesn't accept this and turns around, and that's when she sees Leia. Leia tells her to sit down and that they need to talk. When Luke left, it was because he lost everyone. Everyone he trained died and betrayed him, and Rey was never picked up. She was never picked up because of Kylo's betrayal. When her parents landed on Jakku, the First Order appeared. They tracked. They were looking for any Force-sensitive or for anyone with particular knowledge. As soon as they ran, that gave Rey a fighting chance, but since Rey's parents were captured, they could never come back for her. Before they could go to hyperspace, they were harpooned and brought aboard the First Order ship. Their droid knowledge made them secret assets to the higher-up that took them with them when they were ousted. So the pirates that we meet today are really the creators of the First Order, and they kept their knowledge, which was actually Rey's parents, who knew the knowledge. Parents and Leia ask for forgiveness for all of the trouble Rey endured. So that whole storm that was on Rey's planet was her. So whenever she would break an arm when she was young, or lose a tooth, or get a cold, it would react in the environment. And her parents were so scared of that that they had to find someone to train her. And that's why they contacted the Jedi Order. And then when the Jedi Order fell apart and Luke wasn't there to pick up Rey, the story just stopped. So the pirates are looting the ship, and that's when we find out that Phasma is alive. What? The pirates tried to betray Finn and Poe, and ambushing Finn and Poe's attackers, Phasma comes out, asks what they're doing, what they want. She's missing memories. She's got part of her armor on, but part not. She's sort of got the under armor. She recognizes Finn and brings them to her space. It's got like a little shrine with her armor and a few machines and broken parts. Looks like she's been salvaging and living in this giant ship, trying to find whatever oxygen pocket she can. They fight their way back to the pirates, and then they get the key, which Phasma recognizes. In the ensuing fight to get the key, when they destroy the First Order's officer, it destroys the ship and a lot of pirates die. The actual acting captains of the pirates pass on their plan and let Poe know what's happening. Poe flies away in the Millennium Falcon at top speed, and in the back are the dying pirates, the dying leader. Everyone else died when the ship blew up. The destroyer just explodes. The truth is, the First Order were Mandalorian, and the Eye of Mandalore was the prototype for the Death Star and Starkiller designs. Poe flies to a moon of Mandalore and sends the Resistance the info to meet them there and clear Poe a path. Phasma remembers. A Mandalorian pirate. All of her men killed by the First Order after it was mostly outsiders and automated obedience chips. She was implanted with the obedience chip. She somehow always protected Finn, and it is revealed that he is the child of one of her crew, her last link to her responsibility as a captain or whatever she was as a Mandalorian rebel. And him knocking the obedience chip loose helped her remember. Now we go to Kylo. Kylo speaks with Grandfather, who taunts him and mixes between Snoke and Vader, driving Kylo to a rage and a rampage through his ship. Then is shown a final taunt, all the Knights of Ren bowing to a new master on Mandalore. He sets his course for Mandalore. Leia and Rey and Chewie and C-3PO and R2-D2 are by a window when the First Order fleet arrives and have to come up with a plan until the First Order ignores them and goes straight for the planet. Excited, a beep sounds over the radio. Finn and Poe arrive. They go to the Eye of Mandalore. All our heroes meet on the Eye. All remaining pirates, actually Mandalorians, bow to Phasma and call her their new leader and occupy the Eye. The Resistance hands over the key by force, and the weapon turns on, but will not engage. It needs a lot of work. It was disassembled by the First Order long ago, and there's a code lock, and a strange feeling from Mandalore. Leia and Rey sense it the most. Then Rey sees Kylo, like her past vision. She sees him as though he's there, surrounded by flames, a droid stepping forward and reaching for a helmet. Then looking at it with recognition, Kylo turns and flees after whispering, "Grandfather." all First Order ships start turning to the moon and protecting the planet. The Falcon shoots past the blockade. While Kylo is running through his ship's halls, Rey and Kylo see each other, and time stops. They look around and are in mist that fades to reveal nature and wilderness, and Luke's voice. Look around you. Look where you come from. Who will you become? I don't understand what's going on. I told you I'd see you again, nephew. I just didn't expect so soon. Kylo yells. Luke waves a hand. This is too soon. Your powers. You were always strong. Not because of your power, but because of your choices. And now truth time, everyone. Snoke died long ago, so long ago that there is no myth or legend, but he returned. First, he focused on positivity and negativity. He formed them ever so small, but in our world, as a Force ghost, he could not interact. But countless millennia have given him time. It was you, Ben, a child of Vader. When the Jedi and the Sith existed, they would not allow for such practices. But with their passing, none would stand to oppose Snoke. Even in my time, he could not appear. I had my guardians. Yoda and Obi-Wan kept a watchful eye on me. And even Vader had his master. But with all gone, Snoke made his move. You two are his vessels. Ben, your rage gives him power. He never taught you, only taunted you. And Rey, he placed all his positivity in you. But that power, the storm, says Rey. A child of Vader? He saw his rage and knew it would sustain his negativity. Why are you telling us now? You're in danger. I'm sure you sensed a link. A look is shared between Rey and Kylo. He means to use you, not as before. Before you were his anchor for his rebirth to this world. Now you will become him, should his will rise above you. Or together, you can trap him forever. A part of you is him. That part has the power to bind his fate should you learn control, but it must be together. As long as you two act as balance, he cannot control you. I'll always be here to help. When he passed, my only choice was to chase him to the next life and stop him. Your choices are yours. Your choices are yours. Voices: Snoke, Luke, grandfather, Snoke, Luke, grandfather, Snoke, Snoke, Snoke. The mist drops and he can see clearly. It is only Snoke. The new Jedi Academy. That was Snoke, not Vader. All his twisted vision to keep him in rage. It was Snoke. He never even knew Vader, but he will. Rey, Finn, and Poe race to the core where the code is kept. They storm it with the Resistance, and in the end, make it. To the entrance chamber of the core room. Kylo appears on the other side. Rey gives him an approving look. Above them, a droid. Grandfather. It turns around and waves a hand. 8 black-clad knights appear. Rey and Ben find themselves facing the Knights of Ren. Jumping down from above, 8 knights descend. And Rey and Ben have to fight and defeat them all. Yay. Over the radio, actually it's a hologram, you hear the droid's weakness is this and that and this. We learn a little bit about the droid that's in command. And we also learn from the pirates and the Mandalorians. The droid has gained complete control over the First Order, and the Resistance is mostly dead. Ben and Rey confront the droid. And in that moment, we hear Vader. A cool droid with a Mandalorian armor charges and draws a black blade. Ben and Rey get beat up by Darth Vader. This droid is a holocron vault droid, so think of it like multiple personalities of ancient knowledge, but Vader is the dominant personality. Ben and Rey get beat up so bad until a hologram appears in front. It's the original hologram we all know. You're my only hope. And then running through the hologram, surrounded by Finn and Poe and all the Resistance, is Leia. She walks right up, everyone defends for her, and Luke appears as a Force ghost. And they're all fighting the automated First Order, which is obedience chips and people fighting because they think it's right. She pleads with her father, and with one more visit from Luke, they talk him down and put him at peace. Then Hux kills Leia. At that moment, Snoke tries his final possession of Ben and Rey, and I basically just said ensue Dormammu fight, because it's basically going to be floating Snoke versus Rey and Ben trying to win their personality and destroy basically the Horcrux of... It's a Harry Potter fight, basically. We just saw Leia convince Vader to give the code, and he did. She pleads with her father, he gives up the code, and then she's killed. It would be an easy thing for Ben and Rey to team up against Snoke after Leia shows the importance of family to Ben and of hope to Rey. And her death gives the rage almost needed to make Snoke win. The rage that happens when Hux kills Leia is almost enough to end everything. But of course, Rey helps Ben, and then they overcome Snoke together. Now, the eye, on the eye, it is fixed and ready, but it will only get one shot, and it might malfunction. By malfunction, I mean really malfunction. When Ben and Rey come to, they see Rey's parents with C-3PO and R2-D2 sitting around the holocron vault droid. Flashback. Rey's parents were no-ones who heard stories from a librarian of the Jedi on Jakku during their childhood. They would always listen to his stories, and they grew close together, and one day they heard a story of a holocron vault droid, and they went to the stars to search for it. This is the final completion of their dream, and they also get to see Rey free of Snoke. The ceiling collapses. Rey can choose between Ben and her parents. She saves Ben, and her parents survive, but are trapped. A familiar communications device and antenna are with them. They can either choose to escape the airlock they're trapped in, or they can use that power to send a signal and the code. The code is sent to Phasma, with Rey's parents smiling. Phasma fires the weapon, and the moon explodes after firing. The First Order and most of Mandalore get incinerated. As the wave approaches, the Falcon hovers above Rey and Ben. The moon beginning to fall, Rey's parents wave and motion for her to go. Rey, Ben, Poe, and Finn sit around a chess table. Chewie and C-3PO and R2 beep and roar, and C-3PO says, "You copied what?" End.